Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to City College Chemistry class. Today we are going to discuss a new topic related to GE. It is medicinal chemistry in Generic Elective. This comes under Unit 3. We are going to discuss about general characteristics of drugs. This is the syllabus. We have 4 credits per Generic Elective, and in medicinal chemistry, 3rd chapter we are dealing with general characteristics of drugs. And in this chapter we are going to see what is a disease, what are the definitions of drug, and a particular ADME, it is absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination of drug, and characteristics of ideal drug, and nomenclature like chemical name, generic name, trade name, etc. We are also going to see some of the pharmaceutical drug formulations, which are like additives, diluents, binders, lubricants, antioxidants, flavorants, all those things. And on the other hand, we are going to see the formulations of the drug, like how they are classified into oral, parenteral, and topical forms. In this, we are going to see about certain drugs. So basically, there are only 5 topics which we are going to deal in this, about the diseases and ADME, drug nomenclature, and drug formulations, and a classification of drug and the formulations. Out of this, ADME is expected as a long question, and also this terminology can be asked as a long question. So let us see basically what is disease. The word disease is from French origin, which is called as disease, which means lack of ease. And the drug is also a French word, which is from drogue, which means a dry herb. So drug and disease, they are the French words. And if biological responses is therapeutically useful, then only drugs are called as medicines. We will see drugs and pharmacists, name as medical shops. And generally we call it as medicines also. Only those drugs which are prescribed for a patient are called as medicines, otherwise they are called as drugs. And why we are going to study these medicines in our chemistry? Because all drugs are chemicals. The chemicals, they are pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical means they are having a higher order of organic chemistry compounds, and they are synthetic chemistry. They are synthesized in the labs. So chemistry is directly linked with the medicinal chemistry. So that's why we are going to discuss about this medicinal chemistry in generic. So disease is lack of ease or inconvenience. Everybody will get, every human being, animal, everybody will get disease. And it is a lack of ease or inconvenience. This is also a French word from disease, just now I told you. So pathology, a branch deals with disease in terms of investigation of the cause, mechanisms, and also development of the disease, structural and functional changes produced by them. This is called as pathology. And every doctor, whenever you go, you will have a medical hall. Beside it, you will have a pathology lab. Basing on the investigations, they will give the medicines. So disease, the definition of the disease is any condition that impairs the normal function of the body. If body is hale and healthy, normal, we will call it as we are healthy. If any impairment is there, any dysfunction is there, then only we will call it as a disease. And another definition of the disease is a particular condition that negatively affects the structure or function of the part or all parts of the organism by internal or external factor are called as disease. One more definition, external factors which are called as exogenous, such as pathogens, or by internal dysfunctions including various forms of immunodeficiency, hypersensitivity, allergies, and autoimmune diseases. There is a change in body which will cause an inconvenience, so we will call it as disease. So one more definition, these are the definition, out of one you should remember. The condition that arises from normal or healthy tissue and cell, and endogenous, internal factor, biochemical imbalances, abnormality in cell, or chemical toxin or invasive pathogen in the body. That invasive pathogen in the body, any foreign body comes into the body, then the disease comes. Or a final definition which easily we can remember, that internal or external dysfunctions in the body caused by internal or external factors such as pathogens is known as disease. So there is a little difference between disease and illness. Disease is something that need to be cured. Illness is something that need to be managed. I will give a simple example to you. Cardiac arrest is a disease. That means you are getting a heart attack, it is a disease. No effect of illness. There will not be any illness will be there. Directly your heart will stop, which is called as cardiac arrest. Chronic pain, a pain in body, is illness. It is not diagnosed as disease. So there is a little difference. Generally we will use the synonyms, but disease is different from illness. And there are certain terms which you should know when you are dealing with medicinal chemistry. Etiology, the cause of disease. I will give a simple example. Nowadays we are facing the COVID. So corona virus disease. So corona is the virus which is causing the disease. So we will call it as etiology. And pathogenesis, stepwise development of the disease. So what is this pathogenesis? With COVID, when you get, generally you will have cold, a sore throat, and you will have a cough and a breathing problem. Like that, there will be some steps which is called as pathogenesis. And liaison, the characteristic changes in the organism produced by the disease. When the disease or organism comes into the body, there will be some changes which are called as lesion. And generally cataract, fibrosis, wart or foot lesion, these are all the characteristics. Generally when you get corona, these things will be appearing. Illness, the reaction between the disease and the affected body is called as illness. When the disease and the affected body, they are having some reaction, they will call it as illness. So I will give a simple example. Whatever just now I have told you, I will show you picture. So when you are getting a sneeze, means you may have COVID. COVID is coronavirus disease. So coronavirus is the etiology, and you will have cold, cough, breathing problem. So there is a process. This is called as pathogenesis. And there may be a symptom. Body will have show some symptoms like fibrosis, which is called as lesion. A wart or a infection in the leg, which is a lesion. So this is the indications which body will give the individuals. There are two types of classification. Generally common diseases, they are communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. So common diseases which arise due to changes in climate, place, season, environment, or personal hygiene, generally like pain, fever, all these are considered as common diseases. And diseases may occur due to infected person from a person or a food or a contamination or the air, water, animals, like that. There are different methods of communicating the diseases from one to another. So communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. All diseases are not similar. There is a minute difference. Those diseases that spread from one person to other are considered as communicable diseases. This may be caused by microorganisms such as bacteria, virus, fungi, etc. These are all parasites. So coronavirus, you can see when somebody sneezes, the virus will travel in the air and you will be getting contaminated and you will get the disease, which is called as communicable diseases. Some are transmitted through bites of the insects. Like if you see dengue fever or typhoid, all these are causing due to insects. And others are caused by ingesting communicable food and water. Some of the diseases, they will communicate it through food and water. Coronavirus, tuberculosis, all these are examples. And viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and rickettsis, all these are the general causes for the common diseases. And virus, you can have a common cold, flu, and pneumonia, hepatitis, like this, or AIDS. All these are coming to viruses. And there is a slight difference. I will not go into details, but I will tell you. A best example which I can give is typhoid fever. Generally what happens, the patient stool will have this bacteria. This bacteria fly will sit on the excreta and it will travel from one place to another place and it will contaminate the water. When others drink this water, it will cause typhoid. So this is the best example for communicable disease and non-communicable disease. Non-communicable diseases are these are non-transmissible. That means it does not spread from one person to another person. If one person is having diabetic problem, sugar problem, it will not be contaminated to other. Autoimmune diseases and heart diseases, cancers, these are personalized. These are called as non-communicable diseases. And there is second classification. In this classification, diseases are divided into common diseases, just now I told you. Similarly, infectious diseases. These infectious diseases can be from airborne diseases, that means traveling from air, waterborne diseases from water, insect-borne from insects you can get these infections. And other type are hereditary or inherited diseases. Let us see in detail. Common diseases, just now I told you, which arises due to change in climate, place, season, environment, all the common diseases. And flu, headache, toothache, stomachache, backache, allergies, cold, all are common. So in broader spectrum, all are general diseases only. Infectious diseases are disorders caused by the microorganisms such as bacteria, virus, fungus, or parasites. Any parasite is involved in the disease, then it is called as infectious disease. Example, bacterial infection, you will call it as generally infection. Many organisms live in and our body. In and on our body, there are so many organisms, but all are not harmful. Some are harmful, some are useful. They are normally harmless or even helpful. But under certain conditions, some organisms may be causing diseases like corona. So you see the structures. Virus, you can see a ball with a spools, and bacteria is like this, and fungi and parasites. So you try to remember this. I am giving the scientific picture. A bacteria will have a cylindrical structure, virus will be like a ball, and fungi like a open umbrella, and protozoa is like this. You try to remember. So some infectious diseases passed person to person transmitted by the bites of the insects, animals, by ingesting contaminated food in water, being exposed to organisms in this environment. These are all communicable diseases. Signs and symptoms vary depending upon the organism causing the infection, but often include fever and fatigue. General symptoms what we see is when you are infected, you will get a fever or a fatigue. But there is a difference depending upon the body. There is a variation in the symptoms. So mild infection may respond to rest of the home remedies, like if you take the lukewarm water, if you drink milk, or if you take ginger, then there may be a remedy. But sometimes it is life-threatening infections also, they need hospitalization. So you should be in a position to discriminate which one is dangerous and which one is not. So many infectious diseases such as measles and chickenpox can be prevented by vaccine. So in generally you can remember when you are a child in schools, they might have given some vaccines. Even though corona, they are giving vaccines. So these vaccines they will prevent. It is a dead virus. It will be injected into your body, and this dead virus, thinking it is an actual virus, our body will mechanism will develop antibodies, and these antibodies, when real virus come, it will fight. So these vaccines are generally useful in preventing the disease. Frequent and thorough hand washing also help in protecting you from the most of the infectious diseases. And here this is most important point, which hand washing will prevent all infectious diseases. The reason is all these viruses and bacteria, all these are made of proteins. So when it is a protein, we are using soap. Soap is nothing but it is a long chain, which is a positive and negative end. It will have a long organic chain. So these positive and negative ends will be called as hydrophilic. Hydrophobic means they are having hate with water or love with fat, which is called as lipophilic. Hydrophobic means phobia means fear. Hydrophobic means they are fearing water. Hydrophilic means having love with water. Always remember plus and minus charges, they are having affection with water, and other tail will not have affection with the water. So this protein, it will be held by all tails of the big molecules of the soaps, and they will fall a micelle. And this micelle will hold the bacteria, virus or oil-like substances, and they will take away from the one place to another place. This ball, it will be charged with positive, negative, which will be, that's why when you wash with the soap, we will put soap and we will brush it, and we will wash with water. So when you wash it with water, this ball will go in the water, and this contamination can be removed. Some factors involved: organism, the parasite lives on others, which is called, generally it is considered as organism. And pathogens, reasons for the diseases, these are the pathogens, this is the called as organism. And human, generally we are dealing with medicinal chemistry, humans and animals can be host, generally we are dealing with human. And method of spread, it is generally called as transmission, you try to remember the words. So airborne diseases. An airborne disease is any disease that is caused by the pathogen that can be transmitted through air. If this pathogen can transfer through the air, it is called as airborne diseases. Just like tuberculosis and corona, you can remember. Such diseases include many considerable important both in human and veterinary medicine. And the virus, bacteria, fungi, all those things generally they will transmit through air. And how they will transmit it, they will spread through breathing, touching, cough, sneeze, rise of dust, spraying of liquids, toilet flushing, or any other aerosol. Generally, they will be in a position to travel in the air, then only they will do contamination. So these viruses, they will travel in the air and they will enter into our body from nose or mouth and they will cause them. Illness resulting when the foreign organism is called the life citizen person, infection or infection disease. So this illness, it is generally called as infection and the disease is called as infectious disease. The infection is the first step occurs when bacteria, virus, other microbe that causes disease enter into the body and begin to multiply. First step is called as infection, and after that it will create problem to the body, then it will be called as insect disease. Disease occurs when the cell in your body all damaged. As a result of the infection, the signs and symptoms of the illness appear. So immediately you get infected, you may not have symptoms of the disease. So that's why those who got corona, they will not have any symptoms. After second day, third day, this infection, it will get into the body and it will damage our body cells. Then we will call infectious disease. So exemptions, not from the pathogens. If there may be some chemicals, in Visakhapatnam there was an incident where a gas leakage was done from the factory. So volatile organic compounds which are called as VOCs, and generally these volatile organic compounds, when they enter into the gas like methyl isocyanate in Bhopal, these will also cause a harm to the human body. So this is not as considered as airborne diseases. You try to remember that. And waterborne diseases. So illness caused by drinking water contaminated by human, animal excrements, which contains pathogen microorganisms. So when water is contaminated, such diseases are called as waterborne diseases. And mostly 4 common waterborne diseases are identified by the World Health Organization: cholera, typhoid, hepatitis A, B, and dysentery are the general problems. Just now, I have given the examples of typhoid. So this fly, the excreta, it will contaminate the water, drinking water, and it will cause typhoid. Hereditary diseases. These disorders are inherited by genetically. These we can say these diseases are transmitted from our forefathers and father and mother to ourselves, which is called as hereditary. You will get properties from the hereditary. Similarly, you will also get diseases in the hereditary. Passage on from one generation to another generation to defective genes. So RNA, DNA, they will carry these codes and they will have some diseases like our personal traits, body, structure, color, hair, intelligence, all those things. Some diseases also carried, and these diseases are called as hereditary diseases. These diseases are transmitted within the family chain only. You can see these diseases. That means in 7 generations, generally people in olden days, they used to see 7 generations before getting married, because the diseases which are carried in 7 generations will definitely replicate in next generation. So that's why they used to see 7 generations. So chromosomes in the hormones are responsible for passing the traits from one parent to another offspring. So we can see if your father is a carrier, there is a chance of father's diseases can be transmitted, and mother can also have a carrier. So there are, if you see the percentage, 25% there is no effect. Even if your father is having problem, mother is having problem, you may not, 25% you may not get problem. But 25% you may get it from father, or you may get from the mother. In certain cases, 25% from father and mother both you will get infected. So this is a hereditary transmitted disease. Mostly diabetic, blood pressures, anemia, and congenital heart diseases, some types of cancers, ovarian, breast, colon cancers are best example. You can see gout where the uric acid is high and it will be accumulated in the thumb of your foot and it will be swollen. It will be a lot of problems. Generally, those who eat non-vegetarian, they will get this gout problem. So this gout problem, you can see it is a hereditary. So write that. And insect-borne disease. These diseases generally travel by insects. So insect-borne diseases are viral and bacterial illness from insects, bug, contact or bite. So mostly a housefly or a mosquito, these are the best example. Mosquitoes, sandflies, chickens, fleas, all these are. So mosquito, it will cause venovagal, Zika virus, malaria, dengue, chikungunya, all these fevers will come from the mosquito, which is considered as insect-borne diseases. Pets, wild animals are living shop. They will have these animals will have some diseases, and the flies, mosquitoes, chickens, all those things, they will be transmitted from animal to animal or animal to human being, is generally considered as. And mosquito-borne diseases, World Health Organization has given so many diseases like chikungunya, dengue fever, yellow fever, Zika, malaria, Japanese encephalitis, all those diseases are the plague. All these are microbial. And in next class we will see ADME, which is the process of drug processing. Thank you for watching.